Hello and welcome to Creative Astro TV. Today I'll be talking to Mary Heath, author of Get Your Life Back. Mary worked in a private psychiatric hospital and also the NHS in the community and mental health for over 25 years. She also worked as a stress management consultant and therapist and life coach. So Mary, how does it feel to finally get the book out there for the world to read?
I'm obviously overjoyed and surprised that it's all come to fruition after all these years. I feel very, very happy thinking that someone who is suffering from stress or anxiety and depression hopefully will read my book and help to overcome those obstacles and feel much better.
So tell us a little bit about the book.
Well, we already know that it's to help people to overcome stress, anxiety and depression, but it's quite different to other similar books in that it is written as a 12-week program or a 12-week course. So if people can't attend a stress management course, then this book is instead of. It's full of lots of different skills and tools and techniques and therapies from quite a wide range of disciplines such as stress management, obviously, anxiety management, depression management, and also there's some cognitive behavioural therapy in there. That's questioning your negative thoughts and changing them to positive thoughts. There's also some very unique and very powerful yogic breathing exercises. It's basically pranayama, but the exercises are designed to overcome any negative emotion, such as nervousness, anxiety, guilt, fear, and so on. There's a relaxation every 2 weeks and a different meditation every 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. And other things thrown in like problem solving, how to overcome being a perfectionist, writing goals down and being positive about achieving them.
So Mary, what inspired you to write this book?
I think really it was my patients and clients, seeing them getting better and getting their lives back. It made me think. In fact, they used to ask me that I should write it all down, and although I gave them course handouts and leaflets on various things, quite a few people said to me, you should write a book because there are so many things that you teach us. It would be nice to have a book. And then eventually one or two colleagues thought it was a good idea too. So I got my inspiration from teaching and helping people to get better. And I think it was other books that I saw on the market as well. Okay. There was nothing like what my idea was of writing a book with many different types of therapy in it.
When someone buys this book, what can they expect to get from it?
I hope that they expect to get what it says on the tin or what it says, on the covers of the book. The title itself, Get Your Life Back. They will think, oh, well, yes, I do need to get my life back because since I started suffering with all this anxiety and panic attacks and so on, it's just taken part of my life away. And then the subtitle is a 12-week program to overcome stress, anxiety and depression. So I think they will expect that will happen. If they read just the back cover, they'll see lots of what they would expect to see in such a book. So it does explain that there are lots of different conditions that can be overcome by following the program in the book.
So this leads me to ask you the question, why Get Your Life Back?
Well, it is a very good question because it actually took me months, literally, to come up with the right title. I was asking all my family members and friends, and I had a list of titles that was about 25 to 30. And the publisher was pushing me for a title, and none of them seemed right. And then suddenly, one day, I was thinking of a lady, an ex-patient of mine, and I remembered her saying, when I first assessed her, I asked her, what did she want? And she said, I just want to get my life back. So hopefully the book will help them to do that.
Excellent. So writing a book, I mean, as I can imagine, takes a very long time and a lot of patience. So talk me through the journey. How did you manage to write this book?
A short answer would be that it took me 30 years to write this book, because that's literally when my journey started. So 30 years ago, I suffered with postnatal depression myself, and I had, adversity in my life and found life quite difficult to cope with. And someone persuaded me to go to a yoga class, and that's where my journey began. And yoga was extremely helpful and beneficial. One of my first jobs was in the local psychiatric hospital, and I taught yoga, and I noticed the patients there were reducing their stress levels and their anxiety started to fade. And I then became very interested in people's stress and why they got stressed and how it affected them. And so I decided to train in stress management. And after that, I trained to become a counsellor. And after that, so by this time, I was writing and delivering stress management courses, personal development courses, positive living was high on the agenda. And then I moved into the NHS. I saw the same things happening. So I was working on a one-to-one basis as well as delivering groups. Trained as a life coach and did other complementary therapies as well. So I set up my own stress management consultancy company where I went to work in other establishments, companies both very large and small, and working with private individuals. As it sounds, I was very busy, and so I didn't set the time aside to write the book. I waited till I retired, actually. But I knew I wanted to write a book for all the reasons I spoke about before. You know, that there just wasn't a book in the bookshops for people suffering from various conditions. So I thought, yes, I would like to write a book. But it started in a very, very different way. My first idea was actually to write a coping strategy for every day of the year, because I'd learned so much and read so much and studied so much that I actually made a list of all the different tools and techniques, and I thought I could easily reach 365. So I did the list, but I did the list probably about 15 years ago. And then I was far too busy to do anything to it.
Mary, as I can imagine, it takes a lot of discipline, it takes a lot of work to put a book together. I'm sure you had some challenges in putting this book together. Would you like to share those with us?
Yes, you're quite right. There were a lot of challenges. I think my biggest challenge was motivation in the beginning, because although I'd written notes on what I wanted to put in the book, I had to, write it all out in sentences and paragraphs and chapters and so on. And so I eventually did become motivated by setting a goal. So we were on holiday. We'd gone on a long holiday to Australia to see our family. And so I set the goal that once I got back home, I would start. And I stuck to that. And so off I went into my study and I started. And I actually really enjoyed writing it, and it all seemed to come flooding out. One of the challenges is my age. I, don't always remember everything. But in actual fact, I did seem to be able to remember things that I'd done years ago, and all these, different therapies and techniques and so on, and they just came flooding out. So another challenge was being able to type it quickly enough. I got tired, but I wanted to carry on until I'd got to the end of a section. So sometimes I'd still be up at gone midnight with my husband Ray shouting, "Haven't you finished yet?" And also I enjoy, quite a healthy family life and social life. We'd like to go on holidays and away for weekends. So often it would be a couple of weeks before I'd written anything. And so it dragged on a bit. And then when I got a publisher interested, they gave me further challenges. She wanted to know how it was going to be constructed. I told her that, I'd changed the structure. I was going to do 365 days. And she said, that would have been much too much. So I said, I've sort of wheedled it down to 100 days. She asked me why. And I said, on average, from my experience, it took about 3 months or 12 weeks for a patient to be either discharged or to go back to work, to overcome their conditions. I also had to spend time in the library looking up something called the Chicago Manual of Style, which was a massive book, this thick, and it was, telling you where to put your commas and your semicolons and what grammar to use and what font to use and what spacing to use. So that was all hard work.
So here is the book, Get Your Life Back. So Mary, where can people get a hold of this book if they want to buy it?
Well, firstly, they can look at my website, maryheath.co.uk, which was designed by the wonderful Creative Astro team, including yourself. They'll learn a lot about me and the book and what's in it and how it can help on the website. And there is a link on the website to Findhorn Press, the publisher. And so they can, just click on the link and Findhorn will send it to them. Obviously, they can find it on all the major bookstores, such as Waterstones, W.H. Smith, and so on.
I've also noticed that you have a CD. Is this the audio version of the book?
No. It's actually complementing the book in a way, because in the book there's a series of breathing exercises to help overcome emotions. And so all the breathing exercises are on the CD, and there is also a half-hour's relaxation on the CD, which can also be found word for word in the book. So you can buy that along with the book, and it will help a great deal with the breathing exercises. It's much easier to learn them from the CD than it is to read them in the book.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Mary, it's been a pleasure talking to you, and I'm really happy that you managed to get this book out there. And we'll do our best to try and help you get it out there to the people that we know, because definitely this will work for people from all walks of life.
Yes,
in fact,
yes.
I will also get this because I get the stress from the work designing the website. So it is a very good book, and I'll definitely read it and give you some feedback. So Mary, thank you very much for talking to Creative Astro TV, and wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you very much.